Can you speak, Chaume?
Can you hear me, Dilma?
Yes, now I
Oh,
can.
finally, finally. Hola, hola, hola a todos.
Well, I'm going to speak in English. Welcome, everybody. Right? Chaume, thank you so much. I know how busy you are, and I'm really happy to see you, my friend. Okay. I'm just going to read something about him. Okay, so, well, Chaume currently works, just confirm, okay, if I'm wrong, just tell me. He works at the Department of Translation and Communication at the Universitat Jaume.
Jaume, Jaume.
Oh no, I don't know. In Spain, he does research in audiovisual translation and media localization, as well as market trends, the impact of technology in these processes, the new audiences and platforms of distribution, and the balance between globalization and localization when translating and adapting audiovisual content. Well, uh, he's also author of many books and articles and everything. It's not difficult to find him on the internet. Okay, it's very easy. So I hope you all, okay, how can I say? Well, you enjoy. Okay? I don't have anything to say, not much. But it's up to you. Okay, I'm gonna close my microphone now. Okay, and let you talk to my students and my friends.
Muito obrigado, Dilma, for this opportunity. I'm so sorry I cannot speak Portuguese. I love the language. I studied Portuguese when I was at university. When I studied English and German because they were mandatory in my as an elective course. I took Portuguese because I really love the language, and also because especially the Portuguese here are our neighbors. So it was also a question of good neighbors, of being good neighbors. No, no. Well, thank you for this opportunity to be teaching or chatting with your students at Estrada, la Escola de Dublagem. It's really an honor for me to be able to interact with you all. I'm very happy. I would have liked to do this in person. I'm sure that you all miss live teaching and live events and live everything, but unfortunately we cannot still do it live. One day, I'm sure that one day we will be able to meet in person. Fingers crossed for that. Maybe here, maybe there, and whatever. So, Dilma, thank you for this. And Dilma told me that, well, we could do many things in a session like this, but I thought that I would prefer a more interactive session rather than teaching or giving a lecture. Having said that, I received 5 questions from you because Dilma resent them to me, and then knowing me, I couldn't avoid preparing a short PowerPoint with information about these 5 questions, because I also wanted to show you something and some images and some technologies that maybe are better seen on a PowerPoint rather than just spoken, no? in a spoken mode. So if you agree, what we can do is that I can answer to your 5 questions as much as I can, and then after that we can start a turn of questions and answers. I hope you are not shy, because when we do this in Spain, nobody asks anything because people are shy and they don't want to ask. But I'm sure that you will. And
They will.
okay. I am never angry at people who interrupt me. So you can raise your hand, you can interrupt me bluntly. You can say, hey, hello, I need you to stop here because there's something I want to know. And if technology permits, if the technology allows us to do that, I will stop and you can ask or whatever. So going to the questions that you kindly sent me, there were 5 questions. I will share my screen with you right now. But I just wanted to let you know that question 2 and question 5 was about technologies. Question 2 said, what do you think the future of dubbing and dubbing translation will be, especially when it comes to machine translation? How some of the main countries that have a solid legacy on the dubbing history, like Brazil, like Spain, are dealing with them, like most Latin America, like many countries in Europe, like many countries in Asia, Japan, China, and so on and so forth. And question number 5 said, Amazon recently patented a technology that could automate dubbing for movies and recreate the actor's voice in another language. Amazon itself admits that its success is questionable, but I don't doubt, you say, I don't doubt it at all. We already have numerous applications, apps that can make anyone say anything. What is your opinion about this matter? Do you believe this could actually happen? If so, is this something that is going to happen in our lifetime or only for future generations? So these were questions number 2 and number 5. I would like to know what is going to happen in our lifetime. Who was going to say that we were going to live such a weird, crazy times as we are living? So it's difficult to say. But what is not so difficult is to reply to your questions, giving you some information about how technologies are really having a great impact on audiovisual translation in general and on translation for dubbing in particular. You are totally right. You are totally right. I will try now to share my screen with you. Please let me know if you can see it. And if so, I will proceed with the PowerPoint I have prepared for you. So now I think, okay, it has to be done by the host. It says here, it has to be done by the host. Dilma, I'm sorry for that. Didn't send you the PowerPoint. I will do it in a minute, right? Or maybe, Dilma, you can authorize me to do it if you know how. If you don't know how, I will send my PowerPoint to you.
Dilma, you're muted.
Can anybody help me? Vinicius? Somebody?
I'm muted.
You need to go to share screen and
Yes.
allow him to share his screen. No, not you, Dilma.
Okay.
You need to go. Sorry, Dilma. You need to go, I think, to share screen and enable or able him to share his screen.
But how am I going to do that?
The green button down the screen.
Yeah, it's share screen. One participant can share at a time.
Then choose the other option.
Okay, multiple.
Yeah.
Can you see the?
Yes, yes, it's working. Thank you.
Thank you, Bia.
Who
No
was?
problem. Yeah. Me, hi.
Okay. Beatriz. Beatriz.
Yes.
Bea, okay. So can you see my PowerPoint now?
Yes.
Okay. Everybody, right? Everybody can see it. Thank you for that. Obrigado, Beatriz. So, so this is the PowerPoint, and let me check if I can. Yeah, okay. So technologies in dubbing. There are many technologies having a great impact on dubbing. One of them, well, I will go into detail in some minutes. I just wanted to let you know some new things related to technologies or that are happening thanks to technologies, thanks to the role of technologies. One is what in Latin America they call collaborative dubbings, doblajes colaborativos. And I don't know if you have come across this term, doblajes colaborativos. These are produced by companies based on different countries. Like, for example, there are a couple of them doing collaborative dubbings, like Etc. Group or The Kitchen, for example. And they are based in different Spanish-speaking Latin American countries, like Venezuela or the US or Mexico, Argentina as well, and so on. So thanks to technology, now dubbings can be done, or actors, the talents, can be based in their countries, in their cities, or even they can be based abroad, wherever, and they can record their lines, and then an engineer mixes all the recordings into just into just the same video, so that the dubbing can be made not as in the past, because in the past dubbings were made locally in a dubbing cabin, in a dubbing studio. Nowadays, these collaborative dubbings can be made thanks to technology, right? Thanks to digitalization, especially. So as you can see here, actors dub in the country and engineers send the audio files with the recordings to the company, editing the final dubbing. That's it. Thanks to technology as well, many actors can do some different dubbings. For example, with Puss in Boots, Antonio Banderas could do the English dubbing, not the English dubbing, the English original, of course, in this case. He could do the English original, he could do the Spanish dubbing for Spain, he could do the Spanish dubbing for Latin America, he could do the Italian dubbing, and he did the Catalan dubbing as well. And this is all thanks to technology, the fact that he could do all these things. There are many changes at the same time in dubbing, but of course, another important one is cloud dubbing. And cloud dubbing has really boomed thanks to, unfortunately, the pandemic of COVID-19. As you can read there, COVID-19 has accelerated the adoption of cloud dubbing and remote recording faster than expected. When lockdown hit the entertainment industry, it became quite clear that traditional dubbing wasn't prepared to react. What is cloud dubbing? Cloud dubbing is not collaborative dubbings, right? Collaborative dubbings is one thing, when they just record the different lines and the different characters in different countries or in different companies. Cloud dubbing is a step forward, is a step beyond that. Cloud dubbing means that everybody works in the cloud. People can be based wherever as well. People can be based in Brazil, in Portugal, in Spain, in Turkey, or in China. Everybody can work in the cloud at the same time, or maybe not at the same time. And then everything is done in the cloud. So the translation and the adaptation are done in the cloud. So in a way, you can interact with other people of the company, or you can just check how they are doing the translation into Italian or into Portuguese if you are translating into Spanish. And then you can check how they are doing this, and then you can get ideas, translation solutions, or whatever. The dubbing director is there. Yes.
I'm so sorry to interrupt. I have one question about it. About this cloud dubbing. I wanted to ask you if it looks something like the nowadays that we see and we work on online platforms for subtitling. If it's something like that.
Yes, it's something like that. If you know Una, for example.
Yeah, I work on Una.
Oh, okay. So it's the same thing. I will show you the interface right now because I have it prepared in my PowerPoint. And right now, Artemis, we've got 4 possibilities, 4 cloud dubbing platforms. Voice Q, you all know Voice Q. OneDub, developed by Deluxe, Deluxe, the vendor, the big vendor. ZooDubs by Zoo Digital, which is also very, very important. And now iDub by SDA Media. You know that SDA Media has been bought by
Yes.
So they have developed this tool as well, iDub. So right now we've got 4 platforms to do cloud dubbing, thanks to, sorry for that, thanks to COVID-19. We don't have to thank COVID-19 for anything, but it is true that before COVID-19 there was almost nothing. Yes, ZooDubs existed, but it was like something that few people knew and few people worked with. Right now, more and more people are using these platforms. So it is, as Artemis mentioned, it is the same thing as Una or other cloud platforms in subtitling, where everybody can interact, everybody can work. Like when we save changes in Google Drive, for example, when one saves changes in Google Drive, they are saved. And then we don't need to save the file. We don't need to send any file. We don't need to work locally. We can work in the cloud so that everybody can work with us, interact with us, or whatever. For example, the creation of glossaries. The creation of glossaries, in order to comply with consistency sheets, you know what consistency sheets are, right? I mean, the guidelines, the key NPs, the key nouns and phrases that you must keep the same during, for example, a whole TV series or whatever. All these things can be consulted and accessed really easily because they are on the cloud and they are constantly fed by translators in many languages at the same time. Remember that right now Netflix is dubbing into 31 languages or 32 languages. So it means that you can have that glossary in German, French, Italian, Portuguese, Spanish, and for us translators, it is really so rich. It is really so nice to be able to check how it was translated into Italian or French or whatever, because we get ideas. We really, it's something that really feeds us as well. So that is cloud dubbing, right? So it is not collaborative dubbings. Yes, please.
I am already dubbing with ZooDubs. I have already experienced.
You are?
Yeah, as I tell my students that I call it dubloque because it's very it's like a karaoke, okay? With
Karaoke, yeah.
Sentences, and
yes.
You have it on TV on the screen for you. You just you know when you can speak slower or you can speak faster or whatever, because the size of the letters, they change, and then you know you can speak faster, slower, and everything. And it's very easy. I thought it was excellent, and I've been working with ZooDubs.
ZooDubs. Now you have ZooDubs on the screen. Can you see ZooDubs, the interface? As Dilma was explaining, they have adopted what the French did and do, what they did in the past and still do, the French and the Canadians. The French and the Canadians did dubbing in a different way from us, from you in Brazil, from us in Spain, or from people in Italy, or from people in Mexico, or from people in other countries, in China, Japan, or other countries. They had what they call la bande rythmo. And la bande rythmo is exactly what Dilma was explaining to you. So the translation appears at the bottom of the screen. Can you read it? Can you read there? It says in Spanish, Policía habla el halcón, the hawk, the bird, the owl, right? Policía habla el halcón. So this appears there as if it were subtitles. And when it crosses the red line, then the talent, the voice actor, the dubbing actor, like Dilma, they read it aloud. They read it aloud. And according to the font size, it has to be faster or slower, right? And then, as you can see here, they have like 2 columns. In one column, you've got the English original, the original language, whichever, and then, yeah. Oh, sorry, I thought you were asking something. But in the other column, what you've got is the translation. So they segment the original text into what they call events. These are called events. Event number 1, event number 2, event number 3. They are not subtitles. They are not subtitles. They are pieces of sentences, right? And then they do that in English. They do that in the original language for everybody, And then you just follow the events they have created and translate them. If you use more words or more syllables than needed because of isochrony, and you know about this, because of the length of utterances, then the event down or maybe here as well, it changes, the color changes, like in subtitling, right? When in subtitling, the subtitle is too long, the color changes so that you know that it is too long or maybe too short. And also you can check it because of the font size, because of the size of the font, right? So when you start typing, if you just type here one word, like policia, it could be like a giant P, a giant O, a giant L, and it means that you need to type more in order to reduce the font size so that it is similar to the original font size. So it's really user-friendly. It's really easy to you start translating and you immediately know if it is too long or if it is too short. So this is cloud dubbing, and of course it is having a big impact on how dubbing is made. Okay, what more? Yeah, well, cloud dubbing, I've explained it already. Yeah, material securely stored in the cloud, project management changes. Okay. So this is voice queue, for example, another one, the voice queue writer. It is very similar, as you can see, it is very similar as well. We can't see here the English original. We can only see the translation, but I'm sure they've got I haven't played with it myself, but I'm sure it is possible to see both the original and the translation. Okay, more about technologies. Right now we have like text-to-speech technologies, speech-to-text technologies, and speech-to-speech technologies. So this is really changing everything. Text-to-speech technologies are the ones that create, for example, synthetic voices for example, audio description. In audio description, there are already experiments of synthetic voices. The voice is synthetic, the software reads the text, the written text, and transforms it into a speech, right? So you know that it's already done in other domains of our lives, not just in audiovisual translation, but we have seen the first attempts in audio description, and I must say that they are really interesting. The speech to text is when there's something written, there's something oral, there's an oral delivery, for example, a film where characters speak, and then the software turns that speech into text. So especially for subtitling, right? So this automatic speech recognition, and it's used, for example, in re-speaking, re-speaking, live subtitling, where the interpreter listens to the program and re-speaks what he or she is listening to, and then the software transforms that into text, right? And then the speech to speech, which is really interesting for dubbing. And then here we have what you asked, the Amazon Translate, the Amazon application, right? Speech to speech translation to automatic dubbing, that is really fascinating, right? It is not text, it is just one speech to another speech. Really interesting. There have been many attempts. This one was carried out by Disney. Disney did this. Disney tried to invent a speech to speech technology based on what are called visemas in Spanish, visims, maybe in English, visim. And a visim is any of several speech sounds that look the same. So if I close my mouth and I do like this, I could be doing I could be doing P, or I could be doing B, or I could be doing something like that, right? So they established like 9 main visims, right? And according to those visims, the software generated words that fitted into those visims, right? That was Disney 5 years ago, no more than that. But I think that they have abandoned this, not only because I haven't heard from them, could be they are secretly progressing with that, but especially because there are new things that really are much better than what they did. Word to image, yeah, this is something, this is really, well, this is something, this is really similar, but well, this, now we can manipulate the real mouths of the on-screen characters. There were like 2 steps as well. One, I will show you the first step, and then I will show you the latest step, really, which is really amazing, really amazing. The first step was based on what they did in video games. You don't know that in video games, for example, in Final Fantasy, and I think I have, yes, I have the video here. In Final Fantasy, characters mouth different things, different movements, they make different movements according to the language. So the same character speaks differently according to the language. And that was because they manipulated the images according to the translation. So let's look back, say 10 years or 20 years or 30 years, well, 30 years for me, 20 years for Dilma, and 10 years for you all, right? Before, the task of the translator and the dialogue writer was trying to fit his or her translation into the on-screen characters' mouths, right? So that was called ajuste, adaptación in Spanish, adaptation, dialogue writing, adattazione in Italian, and we were trained to do that. We had to just maybe first produce a translation, then look at the on-screen character, and then when the on-screen character opened his mouth or her mouth, we started saying our translation and checking whether it fitted or not, it matched or not, it was too long or it was too short. Right now, we are witnessing the contrary process. The process has changed completely. So right now, what they are doing is, instead of adapting our translation to the on-screen characters' mouths, let's adapt the on-screen characters' mouths to the translation. And this is a challenge. And as you said in your questions, what does it mean? Does it mean that we will do just a draft translation? Does it mean that we won't have we won't make money because adaptation will be done by the software? Well, it's still early to know, but I will show you now what Flawless does. For example, Flawless is the latest news in this business in dubbing, and you will see it's really amazing. It's really amazing. But this is what the industry is doing. So instead of going to the past, I started translating in the 90s, late 80s, early 90s. I was then really young, and then I started doing that. And I learned how to adapt my translation to the on-screen characters' mouths. So now it's like if they said, translators, forget about synchronization, forget about lip syncing, forget about synchronies. Forget about that. You just translate whatever, and we will move the on-screen character's mouth so that it fits with your translation and not the other way around. So it all started with video games, for example, Final Fantasy. I will show you just briefly just 1 minute clip, less than that. Let me know if you can see the clip. So for the moment you can't see anything because it's right now. Can you see it? I will try to make it bigger. Not sure if you will see it. No. So this is the Japanese version and the English version, both versions at the same time. And if you really look in detail, for example, now you can see that the English opened his mouth, but the Japanese didn't, for example. Could you, Bea? Because you are nodding.
Yes, clearly.
Okay,
Yes, I
so this
did.
is, again, so that's the same scene, the same character, the same scene. Well, here, maybe they have both opened their mouths. Well, his mouth, because it's just one. In some examples, it can be seen much better. Right now, for example, right now, the English closed and the Japanese was still muttering something, mouthing something. So this was the beginning, and I will show you now. In this case, I'm not sure. Anyway, so that was the beginning. So Final Fantasy weighs differently in all languages. So it has different weight. Why? Because they manipulated the screen so that the translation fitted into, so that the images fitted into the translation, right? So that is really, really, really new. This is what they did when they started to do it with fiction, with real characters, and they called it real-time face reenactment. What did they do? What they did was they hired a voice talent, an actor, and then the actor had to say whatever in Portuguese, in Brazilian Portuguese. For example, the translation of a speech by George Bush or by Obama. You can check the Obama. There are some videos that show Obama doing this. Not Obama, because it is Obama, but it is not Obama. This is what we commonly knew as deep fakes, right? Like deep fakes. So you know. So what they do is that an actor goes to a dubbing booth, to a dubbing cabin, and then the actor reads our translation. If it is in a dubbing, this was dubbing, but it was like a speech, like a real speech. But it can be done with fiction as well. So the dubbing talent goes to the cabin, he reads our translation aloud, and then a camera records the movements of his mouth and transfers those movements to the mouth of the on-screen character. So they call it the other way around. They call source actor to what we would call target actor, right? Because that is the target language. But they call it the other way around. They call source actor, but he's the target language actor, right? And then these movements are transferred to the on-screen actor. And then when George Bush opens his mouth, it is not really his mouth, but the mouth of the man in the dubbing booth. So in that case, we can see, or we can listen, or we can hear George Bush speaking Spanish or Portuguese or whatever. This is the explanation there. You can see there. by capturing the new facial expressions of the source actor with a webcam and performing a deformation transfer between source and target face. Okay.
Chaume.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, Paulo here. No, because it's a really revolution, you know, I'm kind of, my mind kind of blown in here. But so it would be something like, I don't know if it is a valid comparison, but for example, when we have Disney movies, for example, in the United States, first we have the actors and then the mouths, right? So
Yeah.
it would be like in each country would translate as each country sees fit. And then maybe the last step would be these adjustments to the mouths, just like the original does.
Yeah, well, in fact, what we see is not the mouth. Well, we see the mouth of Obama in this case, but it is not really his mouth. So the adjustment is done anyway, because Obama will never close his mouth until the man in the cabin doesn't close his mouth either, right?
Okay.
So that's it. That's it. So this is yeah, and now they can also preserve the voice qualities of Obama or Bush or whatever, which is really amazing. And the last step is this one, flawless, right? Let me see if I can open it for you, because this is really, really amazing. Flawless. This is a startup. Okay, this is, so you have seen the progress, right? From Disney's The Sims to this reenactment, mouth reenactment, and now we have artificial intelligence, and now we have neural networks. So thanks to neural networks, they can do amazing things, and they have done the first dubbing these past weeks. So what I'm speaking about occurred or happened 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago, no more than that, but it's going to have a big impact. It seems that it's going to have a big impact in dubbing. We don't know, and it will take time. Let me see if I can show. Yeah, this is it. Can you hear it?
No, we can't.
You can't.
It's a miracle you ever get to find that.
Okay, you can't, because I have to share the audio as well, right? Because I have to share the audio. Let me check. I have to share both the screen and the audio. Let me check. Audio, yes. Okay. And now yeah. I hope it works now. Let me see. Can you hear it now?
Your names are so long-winded. It's a miracle.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes, it is working.
Until now, you see? Until now?
Yes,
yes.
both sound and images.
C'est amusant, monsieur. Non, au contraire. C'est tragique. Avez-vous réponse à ça? Absolument. You host. Dilma Machado. Gente, boss. mit einigen der bekanntesten und kriminellsten Familien in dieser
Look at his mouth, please. Look at Robert De Niro's mouth, please. German, right?
Wo sind sie? Was mit einigen der bekanntesten und kriminellsten Familien in dieser Stadt in Verbindung bringt und du lässt sie in ein Busch.
It's perfect, right? It seems perfect, right? It seems that he is really speaking German.
Oh my God, it's so creepy.
Peut-être que c'était un de ces lève-tôt qui font leur bagage le matin. Ou même peut-être qu'ils n'avaient pas d'amis.
I will explain you. And he has moved the mouth in different ways.
Je veux la vérité! Vous n'entendez pas la vérité!
Okay, they have done this with yes, with a Hollywood major. I can't remember which one now. You can Google flawless automatic dubbing, and you will find the news. And what do they do here? So instead of having a voice actor, a talent in a cabin mouthing the translation, what they do is that thanks to artificial intelligence, they are able to move the on-screen character mouth. They move that mouth. It is not someone else moving or articulating sounds elsewhere. It is the same actor, it is the same on-screen actor, it is the same image manipulated according to the translation, and not the translation adjusted or manipulated according to the image as it was the rule, right? As it was the rule, and it is still the rule. So we have to still learn how to do dialogue writing, adjusting, adaptation, or whatever you call it, or compensation, right? Netflix calls it compensation. You still have to do it, but it is something that it is going to gain ground little by little, and we don't know if we will have to move to do something else. I'm sure we will be able to work. We will be necessary always. I have a list of new profiles that the industry demands, and of course we will have local distributors or local vendors that still do dubbing as it is done already, as it has been done always, I mean. So don't panic for that. It is something new, it is something really interesting and fascinating, and we will adapt to it. We will adapt. If it really is successful, we will end up adapting to new workflows, new tasks, and new interactions, and new softwares, and new interfaces. I'm not worried about that at all. And I could be more worried than you because of my age, but I'm not.
It got me thinking about my full-time employees and their ability to survive on $8 an hour.
Sorry.
Community. I think it's real important. Hi, everybody.
Okay, no, sorry. So the last thing I wanted to show you, that's the last thing on technologies, is what they call rotoscoping. I don't know, Dilma, if you have been able to work with that. It is also something new. And it is because of copyright issues. This thing is done because of copyright issues. So instead, the distributors, instead of sending us the images, the visuals, the film, they turn it into black, except for the mouths of the characters, so that we are able to adapt, to do the adaptation. And that is called rotoscopy. is an animation technique that animators use to trace over motion picture footage frame by frame to produce realistic action. Let me show you what it is like.
And then the next iteration of it.
Frederic?
Yeah?
Frederic, Deborah here. Hi, good
Oh,
evening.
Deborah.
It's Deborah here. Could you please stop sharing the screen and start sharing again? Because we froze in the flawless screen.
Oh, sorry.
And now, yeah, and now in order to go back to the screen you were
Okay.
trying to show,
Yeah,
just
yeah, yeah.
stop and share
Okay.
again, please.
Thanks for
No problem.
that. Oh yes, it's yeah. I can see it. Yeah. Okay, so let me, and then the audio as well, and then the basic flawless. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Okay. Can you see it now, Deborah?
Yes, it's perfect. Thank you, Professor.
Okay. So this is the rotoscopy or rotoscoping, as they call it, and it means that you just simply you can simply see the mouths of the on-screen characters, and it is more and more popular because they are so afraid of copyright issues, as if we were like, I don't know, thieves or something, or the mafia who are going to sell their products to another platform or whatever. We don't. We are translators, but still they don't trust us, and they do this rotoscoping thing.
And then the next iteration of it is going to include
rotoscoping. So, as you know, it's very time-consuming process. Sitting in a suite and manually. Process can sometimes, which is never ideal. We're currently in a process of beta testing our new AI rotoscoping tool, which will analyze map customize with selectable opacity and also played on the character's face. This turns a long task into
Look at that. Look at that.
a few hours instead of those a few days, and buys back some crucial time with some of the most high security of content. It's great playing a very short sample of how it is. This was fully automated and had no human pass on the actual rotoscope itself.
and it was done in just a couple minutes, I think. It was a short clip, but yeah.
Rotoscopy, right? So that is something new as well, and so that is how technology is evolving, right? I don't know. There are like, right, like some sounds, maybe because of the clip or the video or something. No, they are not here. Okay. Okay, so that was my answer to technologies. Again, it was paused, right? It's been paused again. It pauses.
I have a question, Professor.
Okay,
It's Deborah again. Sorry to interrupt
Deborah.
you. Yeah, about the previous slide you were showing, the rotoscopy, right?
Yeah.
Wouldn't it make our work more difficult, rotoscoping? Because sometimes, or most of the time, or always, we work with context. So if we don't have a context, we only have a face or a mouth, maybe we need the image, right? We need the full footage in order to contemplate what's happening around. Don't you think it's gonna make our work harder?
Fully agree with you. I quite agree with you. This comes from video games. If you have come across how video games are translated or localized, they usually don't show the images to the translators. So translators translate blindly. They just translate and translate because they cannot see. They cannot see the images, and then there are many mistakes. And then it is the dubbing or the team in the studio, the ones who take care of the translation. And then sometimes in video game translation, translators offer like 4 or 5 or 3 different possibilities. And they say, look, leg can mean this and that and that and that. I don't know what is on the screen. Maybe it's a human leg, but maybe it is not, or maybe it's something else, or maybe it's a trouser leg, right? So you're totally right. Audiovisual translation is not called audiovisual just because. It is called audiovisual because it's the text is a complex network of different codes of meaning interacting among them at the same time and producing meaning at the same time. And that is said by the theory, right? But when we apply that to our task, it is completely true. We need to know who is there in the screen. We need to know the icons. We need to know everything, the lighting, the movements, everything. So it makes our task more difficult. Yes, yes, quite agree.
When we are dubbing games, we also don't see the images. We just hear the sentence in the original, and they tell us to read according to the original. That's all we see.
Exactly, exactly.
We have no idea either.
Exactly, exactly. That's really, and it comes from there. It comes from that. Okay, so that was all about technologies. I think I've spoken too much, but I still have some more slides in order to reply to some of your questions. And I promise I will be really fast so that you have time to ask for whatever you want to ask. One of your questions was the new trends in dubbing. And of course, there are many new trends in dubbing, many new trends in dubbing. For example, you can see here some of them. I'm not going through them, but for example, Iran dubbing its local TV shows into Spanish for the Latin American audience, right? For example, or Arabic dubbing, broadcasting of Arabic dub screen production, spans over 22 countries. These are the countries where they do dubbing nowadays. Before it was Syria, but because of the war, its dubbing is over there, and it's moved to other countries like Egypt and Dubai. It started with a novella, you know, a Latin American novella, Cassandra, and now they are crazy about K-drama. As people in Peru are crazy about K-drama as well, you know, K-drama, the Korean pop drama, and Turkish soap operas, and everything is dubbed. So dubbing is really on the rise in these countries. More trends, Scandinavia. So for us in Europe, when people from Scandinavia came to Spain, or went to conferences, they said, you countries from the south of Europe, you do this weird thing called dubbing, whereas we only do subtitling. And they teased us. There was like, you know, like a joke always, the northern countries doing subtitling, the southern countries doing dubbing. Although this is not true, because as you know, the Portuguese do more subtitling. They do subtitling. Historically, they are now doing a lot of dubbing, but before they didn't do dubbing. The Portuguese or the Greek, in Greece, they do not do dubbing, or they did not do dubbing. So it is not true. But in any case, look at these movements. They are really important. Zoo Digital and other companies, they are expanding that market in dubbing as well. So Sweden, Norway, Finland, and Denmark, maybe 10 years ago, 20 years ago, they didn't do a single dubbing. Only cartoons, because cartoons have always been dubbed into all languages of the world. Maybe video games, yes, but not fiction films, TV series, and so on and so forth. So now Zoo Digital is investing money in dubbing into these languages. And that is a really interesting move, huh? Really interesting move. Of course, minority languages. Minority languages have always used dubbing in order to promote the language. So Gaelic in Ireland, Maori in New Zealand, Catalan, and because you spoke, you asked about, one of you asked about the Catalan dubbing of Frozen. Disney has broadcast 21 titles in Catalan since 2013. So it is not just Frozen, it is just It is 21 titles in Catalan. And it is used not only for the children to enjoy the programs, it also has a political agenda, the political agenda of promoting a language that otherwise can disappear. I have selected just this because it's in Galician, Northern Portuguese. I know that my friends in Galicia don't like this, but it is Northern Portuguese, right? Don't tell anybody, but it's Portuguese. No, I'm joking. Huh? You can tell, because you know it's always this silly political issue, right? Of is it Portuguese? It's not Portuguese. Of course, it's Portuguese. Let me know if you can understand something or some words or maybe everything.
Songo, anda. Non é malo. Loitar por unha
Professor?
causa xusta. Hai persoas que non poden comprender o que quero dicir. Deixa que a túa carraxe saia tan libre como as entes. Non te tes que conter por máis tempo. Un bo consello, pero vou no facer o meu xeito. Non necesito que te entremetas nisto. Son Wanda. Protexe os animais e a natureza que tanto amo.
It seems Spanish, right?
Frederic,
It seems Spanish.
sorry to interrupt, but well, I used to study Galego with my father. Then, well, he was a linguist, and well, he passed in 2018. But then, well, what I wanted to say is that I had a neighbor. She came from Venezuela, and this is the way she speaks Portuguese. That's Portunhol. That is completely Portunhol.
Portuñol. Yes, Galician is a bit of a joke because, for example, I can understand it, and then why they say the theta, for example, no, facer. No, come on, facer. What's facer? So, but it's because they belong to Spain. They are Spanish, and so it's a bit of Spanish plus Portuguese, something like that. But this is Galician, and it's part of the Portuguese-Brazilian language, right? For me it is, although it is really contaminated by Spanish, I think. I'm not a specialist on that. I'm so sorry for that, because I'm not a specialist. Maybe you know more than myself. I only have a Galician granddad. I had, so that's my only merit in my CV. No, and I studied Portuguese as well, and I believe that they belong to the same thing. But in any case, that was, as you can see, my point here was to show you how they use dubbing in order to promote small languages. So, for example, the Netherlands, they now have what they call Tussentaal, and that is a language like similar to Español Neutro. You know Español Neutro, the one they use for all Latin American Spanish-speaking countries, from Mexico to Argentina. And it is like a fake Spanish. It is like a non-existent Spanish that can be understood by everybody. When I go to different Latin American countries, Spanish-speaking countries, I try to make a revolution, and I say, no, don't conform. I mean, don't consume those. I mean, claim or vindicate that you don't speak like that, and do dubbings in your Peruvian language, Argentinian language, and so on and so forth. And in fact, they have been done. I had, where is it? A video, no, of, have you seen, no, yeah, The Incredibles. Have you seen, The Incredibles has got Cars has got 4 different dubbings into Spanish, 4 different Spanish dubbings, right? The Mexican dubbing, the Argentinian dubbing, the Spanish, neutral Spanish dubbing, so for the whole of the continent, and the European Spanish dubbing. So Cars has been dubbed into 4 varieties of Spanish. And maybe the more controversial one was the Argentinian, because what they did here was to use a really domesticating strategy, and they changed even the names of the streets. So you will see now that they mention, or one of the characters mentions, one of the most well-known streets in Buenos Aires, La Calle Corrientes, and he makes a joke on that. I don't know if you can understand Spanish, but at least you will see, or you can listen the name of the Calle Corrientes. That's Argentinian.
Just
yeah.
One moment before you show the video. We are not seeing the videos when you open them.
Okay.
Because you are sharing the screen. You are not sharing the screen. You're sharing the window.
Okay.
So when you go to a different window, we don't see the other one.
Okay.
Share the whole screen so we see
I will.
everything you see.
Okay. Yeah, you're right.
Thank you. Bye.
You're right. Obrigado, Vinicius. So this is it.
Chicos, abrochen sus cinturones, como les dije. Ya es hora, linda. ¿Lista, Violeta? ¿Lista? ¡Ahora! Agárrense que hay baches. ¿Dónde está el microcentro? ¿Qué calles?
He said microcentro, which is the way in Buenos Aires they call the city downtown, the city center, right? Microcentro. So for me, it was really, what? Microcentro?
Siempre está cortada. Va con esta, ¿no? Siempre está cortada. Va con...
Could you listen that? Corrientes, the avenue, and then the reply is, there's always a traffic jam there, or there was always a works or whatever, no? It's cut. It's like it's always works there, and they repeat the same joke. So the same joke again. Huh? You asked, and I said Corrientes, and then he says no. It's always cut off, or it always works. There's always works, or whatever. So this is the Incredibles into Argentinian Spanish, and this is what they call, and you know that, domestication, extreme domestication in this case, right? Because they have adapted everything. Yeah, yes, please.
Sorry, if I'm not mistaken, here in Brazil, the Incredibles 2, they mention Acre here in Brazil, and it's one of our states. So it is also very domesticated. But I think it was the artistic purpose right from the start, right? Because here we have all of the names were also localized. So I think that was the artistic purpose from the start. It depends really on how each country wants.
Yeah. And it depends also on the audiovisual genre, right? For example, animation is more prone to that,
yes,
whereas other genres are not. Yeah. Thank you for that. And then finally, one of the most important trends in dubbing, and I promise I'm done, is the dubbing into English. Dubbing into English has really changed everything. It has changed everything. You know that the English, the Americans, the Canadians, the Australians, they consumed English products done in Australia, Canada, the United States, the UK, Ireland, or whatever, or they subtitled products from abroad. Very little, I know, very little. But, for example, a film done by the most important Brazilian filmmaker or Peruvian filmmaker or Spanish filmmaker would be subtitled into English in order to show it in the States, in Canada, in the UK, and so on. This has changed. This has changed. And you know that Netflix made this interesting move of dubbing into English, dubbing foreign products into English. And this is changing everything. This is changing everything. Why? Because they are dubbing in the United States and they are creating new workflows and they are creating new everything, new layouts, new dubbing symbols, new everything. And they are applying these to the traditional dubbings as well. And they are changing the whole market because of that, because of the dubbing into English. You all know, of course, La Casa de Papel, the Spanish TV series that was dubbed into English, and that is really interesting. North Americans, because they call themselves Americans and they are not, North Americans consumed La Casa de Papel in a dubbed version. They could consume it subtitled, but the figures they have at Netflix is that 2/3 of the North American viewers watched it dubbed, whereas only 1/3 watched it subtitled. So they said, okay, so this is changing habits, this is changing everything. And right now they are doing lots and lots and lots of dubbings of European, Asian, American, Latin American products into English. So for example, La Casa de Papel. In this case, you've got here, well, there were like many languages, as you know, but I don't know if you know this company, dubbing company in Brazil. I don't know.
It's based in Campinas, right? If I'm not
Campinas.
mistaken.
Campinas. Yes. Okay. So that was
And
the
Chaume,
yeah.
now it's Unidub. It's not dubbing company anymore.
Okay. What's the name now?
Unidub.
Unidub. Okay.
Yes.
Obrigado. Muito obrigado. I will change the PowerPoint.
Okay.
Okay. But maybe when it was done, it was called like that, right? Probably.
Yes,
probably.
the first dubbing, it was on dubbing company, but
Okay.
now with Marco Aurelio Campos, it is at Unidub.
Obrigado, Bianca. Bianca is the name?
Yes.
Okay. Muchas gracias. Muito obrigado.
You're
Okay.
welcome.
Okay, so this is it. I don't think I want to speak more. Well, yeah, because this was connected to technology. So some of you were worried in your questions, the questions that Dilma resent to me, some of you were worried about technology and about all these movements and said, well, so what are we doing in the future? In our lifetime, as you said. So there are many other things that are gaining ground in the industry. For example, quality control. Quality control and quality assessment is expanding and gaining ground. And some companies do up to 4 processes of quality control, what they call dialogue control before the translation is recorded, then a pre-mix control, then a post-mix control, and then the client does a final control. So there are companies that do up to 4 quality control steps, and that is really interesting. Netflix does just 2, the pre-mix and the post-mix control. SDA Media does 2, the dialogue control before the mixing and the post-mix control. So it depends on companies and workflows, but it is definitely gaining ground, and they need us to do that. They need us. My students doing internships, I send students to all over Spain and some countries abroad as well, and they keep telling me, I've done a lot of quality control, and that is something, well, maybe it's not as trendy or fascinating as translation, but it is something we must keep in mind because everything is changing. Of course, post-edition tester for video games, project manager, as you know, this is really booming as well. And we have to show varied skills, I mean, many skills, numerous skills. We must be multitasking, right? And then we maybe have to do transcription sometimes, English, or Spanish in my case, or Portuguese in your case. We have to fill production sheets. You know what a production sheet is, right? In the dubbing workflow, it means that in an Excel file, you take down all the people taking part in the dubbing, the names of the characters, the names of the dubbing actors, so that they get paid and all these things. Not only for that, also for consistency matters. The translation of on-screen text, conversion, which is really gaining ground as well. In our case, from European Spanish into Latin American Spanish, and the other way around, from Latin American Spanish to European Spanish. You've got the same with Portuguese, same with French, and so on. And of course, conversion from subtitling to SDH. SPS is the Spanish acronym, Subtitulación para Sordos, maybe the Portuguese acronym as well, right? SDH. So these are new profiles that the industry, the companies want from us, from new interns and from people asking for a new job or taking a job opportunity, right? Okay, that's all, because I have more information, but then I will be speaking until midnight, and I don't think you want.
Professor,
yes,
it's Deborah again. There, where you are in Europe, in Spain, do they pay for all this new profile, the multitasking? Do they pay for it separately, or it's included in the rate you have decided beforehand?
Okay. If you are freelancer, normally it is included in the rate, but many of these things are done by in-house translators, and then it is in their salary. It is something that they do on a daily basis. It is part of their job. So if you are in-house, you do it. If you are a freelancer, some of these things can be asked without being paid, which is a shame. But not quality control. Quality control is paid. So quality control is paid separately. So if you proofread, if you do quality assessment, if you do all these things, you get another fee, a lower fee because you're not translating, but it is faster as well. So you can do double the work compared to what you could do if you did translation and adaptation. So some things yes, some other things no.
Okay, thank you.
For example, the metadata. You know the metadata files? What metadata files are? These have to be filled by the translator as well, and they ask for the translation of a, sorry, it's in Spanish, I know, but it is because I copied and pasted from SDA Media Madrid, SDA Media Iberia. So I changed because it is not exactly like that, but it was in Spanish. So the translation of the title, 5 keywords, a short synopsis for teletext, for example, or for info with the remote. When you use the remote and you want to see the synopsis of the program, so they need a short synopsis, a medium synopsis, and a long synopsis, because they need all these synopses for the different windows, for the TV, for the computer, for the laptop, for the mobile, and so on. And then
they don't pay separately for this. It's included in the rate.
The synopsis will be paid. The synopsis will be paid. Yes, the synopsis will be paid. So there are things that, for example, if they ask for the production sheet, they won't pay because they will say it's included in what you have to do. But if they ask for quality assessment or for the synopsis, they will pay. Yes, they will pay. I think it depends, but anyway. So the key names and phrases, the names of the translator, of all the people, and on-screen text as well, what they call in Netflix forced narratives. because they are inventing constantly new names for the same things. So they say force narrative. Come on, what's that? That's on-screen text. That's all. That's it. Anyway, so I don't want to speak more, really. I would like you to ask, to make questions, or or just to chat, or whatever, because I think it was enough. I didn't expect to speak for too long. So please ask me something. You interrupted me, and I am really happy that you interrupted me before. Really happy. I can assure you that I'm really happy. Okay, Vinicius, you want to say something?
Yes. You probably are already familiar with the concept of the uncanny valley on digital images, and I think it's the same thing with sound, right?
Yeah, uncanny valley.
I was watching the video you showed us before with the digital remaking of the mouth movement. It is a very, very good work, but to me, it is still a little strange. It's a stiff movement. I know they are developing the technology. It's not there yet. But what do you think of that video and other people too? Because it's not just for me. It has to be a standard for everybody, right? It doesn't work just for one person. Right. I watch a lot of digital content. I play video games, so I'm not the standard for that. When I see that, I will catch the digital from the original.
But I'll tell you why. I'll tell you why, Vinicius. I'll tell you why. Because you are special. Because we all are special. Because we all belong to the community of dubbing or translation and adaptation people. So our eyes are trained. We can't see a movie, a dubbed movie, as if we were in a, let's say, in a virgin way, as if we were, if my mom watches this, she will believe it. She will believe it. We don't, because one, we know that Robert De Niro doesn't speak or can't speak German. Two, because we are focusing our eyes on his mouth, because we say, no, he can't say that. So there's something tricky there. So we focus there until, so we cannot watch films. And this is something I tell my students. When the first day of my classes, I tell them, look, if you want to watch movies and TV series as you have seen them right till now, don't come into my class, because once you get in, you will discover that everything is a lie, everything is fake, everything is fake.
I was watching Robert De Niro because it showed most of on the video his mouth. It's like he has a line here. It's just one face up, one face down.
Well, maybe also Zoom makes it worse, or maybe they are developing, as you said. But I can tell you, Vinicius, that it is because you are trained, because this is because you are attending to dubbing classes.
That too much.
And we can't see. I mean, I don't know if you have gone to the movies, or if you are watching a film with somebody who is not familiar with audiovisual translation, and then from time to time you say, no, he didn't say that because he moved the, or no, the subtitle was wrong because what he said was something. And finally, they say, please let your girlfriend, exactly. So they, please let me watch the movie. I'm not interested in translation or linguistics or whatever. But we can't avoid that. We can't avoid that. No. It's something. It's in our veins. It's running in our veins. It's in our DNA, and we can't avoid that. So for you and for me and for all of you, it was like, okay, it is really good. But but for the rest
still
of the,
some way to go there.
Exactly. But for the rest of the world, it's magic. It's a kind of magic.
So you
Yeah,
think that they reached the magic point?
I think so.
Okay. Yeah,
Artemis, you wanted to.
Sorry. Yeah, I just wanted to add because Chaume, you touched a point that is well, you said what I feel and what I live. I live with my boyfriend and my brother-in-law. I spent some 2 months here because of the pandemic and then whatever, and I would call them, oh, let's watch a movie, let's watch a show, a TV series, something, anything. And then out of the blue, I would stop, pause it. But this is, wow, can't you see the subtitle or this person? And then, or I start I start going crazy or analyzing the scene and all the semiotics and, well, can't you see the gestalt of the thing? Well, the mixing of, look at the way the director did this and did that. The dialogue is more than just what they're saying. And then I go on and go on and they're like, then I am alone in the living room. And nobody stands me.
Exactly.
Because I used to do this with my father. And yes, since I was a child, I started watching movies, horror movies, because of him. And then it became something that we used to do together. And he was a linguist, a very famous linguist here in Brazil. And he was like that. He had this sensitivity to feel. It was something beautiful. Well, now I'm alone. I don't have him to discuss things. So I'm thinking about opening a YouTube channel, something like that, because I feel very lonely.
Exactly. We are all, in Spain, we say we are all like freakies, freakies, like freaks of all these things, no? And we are passionate about that, and we because we know, and what we don't know, we want to know, and it's like but really, I really think that this flawless thing will have an impact because we are a small community, a very small community.
Yeah, and I feel, thank you so much, Dilma. I feel so, I can't explain. I have no words to describe what I'm feeling right now, because I'm talking to people who have this passion. I'm talking to you, Chaume. Wow. And wow, it's so, it's a relief to see that I'm not crazy. I'm just a part of a really small community. I actually work with research in the university here about audiovisual translation, but for accessible. So audio description, subtitles for the deaf and hard of hearing, and then, well, I was looking forward to expand my skills, and then I looked for the best course in Brazil, which is Estrada, and then I'm studying now with Dilma to translate scripts, and I'm loving it. I'm loving it.
You will be happy, Dilma, to hear this.
Yeah, Dilma is like wow, a wonderful teacher. And thank you so much, Dilma. Thank you so much, Chaume. I feel so I have no words. Thank you. Just thank you.
Thanks for your words. Thanks for your
I'll say
words.
something, Chaume. Before, when you were showing you, I think this was La Casa de Papel, and you talked about translators, the Brazilian translators. Bianca, I'm not so sure, but your name was there, like Blanca Couto, but it's your name, right?
No. It wasn't me.
Because I read Blanca Couto, I said, I saw there Andrzejewski and people I know the names, and I thought it was you.
No, it wasn't me. I only work with English, but the material was the third and the fourth season was dubbed in Unidub, not in Campinas. So I thought it was important because Marco Aurelio's name was in the slide, and he does not work in Campinas. He works at Unidub.
Okay.
And I just want to tell you, just to present you that Deborah, where is she? She's my partner here at Estrada. She's responsible.
Okay.
She's responsible for
Here I am.
subtitling. Okay?
Nice to
She's
meet you.
our subtitle teacher.
Okay.
Here I am.
We
Thank
were
you so much for
going to
coming.
meet you last year. We were going to meet you last year at Peru, but
In Peru, yeah.
Yeah, we were about to go, Fred. We would
Yeah.
go, but well, fortunately, we are meeting here. No problem.
Okay.
There will be other chances.
There will be other,
sure
other
of that.
opportunities. Yeah. I'm sure.
Yes, yes, for sure.
Fingers crossed. Fingers crossed. And to meet you all. And to meet you all.
Can I just make a comment that it's Beatriz talking again. I found it very interesting that you talked about how I didn't know this about Netflix and how it's now looking for dubbing in English, which is actually something that I already talked to about with Dilma and with Paulo, who's also here, that it's something that I also dub. I translate for dubbing, but I also dub.
Do the dubbing.
Here. Yes. I mean, I'm starting anyways, but something that I would love to do is actually to dub in English, and like not how we do here in Portuguese. I would love to also work like the opposite, not only dubbing, but translating a movie from Portuguese to English or a series from Portuguese to English and dub. So it was very interesting that you mentioned this because I didn't know, and I want to research more about this opportunity maybe, because although it's beginning.
I can send you, Bea, or Dilma, the companies that are doing English dubbing in the States. There are some in the States, some others in the UK. Yeah, the States, and some others in India, the UK, and the States. And they are doing the dubbing into English in these three countries. I can send you 3, 4, 5 companies.
Please do. We would love that.
Yes. Please.
Okay. The contacts.
Yeah.
To all of us, please.
Yes. That would be great.
That would be into English, but I will take a look into Portuguese as well.
Okay.
If I find
but no
something,
problem if it's only English.
Okay.
Great. And thank you so much for your speech and your information. And I was also interested in the AI interaction with dubbing, because it's something that I also studied in my former life as a lawyer in intellectual property and technology. So it might be something that reignites my former passion for technology and putting it together with dubbing. So I probably also research on that area. So thank you.
Okay. Muy bien, Bea. Okay, so I don't know if you have any more questions. I don't know what time is it, what time it is here. Let me check. It's late here. So I think I have to go, and but I would love to maybe one day meet you all personally or be in touch, or I will send Dilma all this information about the English dubbing, and if I find if I find that the same companies are doing dubbing into Brazilian Portuguese, I will mention it as well. And well, I hope you liked it, and I hope this is not the last time we meet or we can see each other.
Of course, it won't be the last.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Okay.
That you know how much I like everything. Okay, your friendship and everything, and I admire you very much. And I just have, well, what can I say? Thank you.
De nada, Dilma.
Obrigado.
You're welcome. De nada. Obrigado. Sí, sí.
Thank
Bueno.
you, Frederic.
Gracias, Kelly.
Thank you. Gracias.
De nada. Next time we will speak in Spanish, right?
Ah, bueno, muy bueno.
Oh.
Me gustó.
Portunhol.
Portuñol en galego.
I'm actually working on quality control of a series from of a show from Colombia. So I'm listening a lot of Spanish for the past 3 weeks. It's just Spanish and Spanish is español, and then.
No, I practice my Spanish with Chaume.
Wow, you have
yeah, Dilma sends me perfect Spanish, messages in perfect Spanish, and then she asks, maybe it's not Spanish. Oh, come on, it's perfect Spanish. It's perfect Spanish. Sometimes Spanish from Europe, Dilma. Sometimes Spanish from here. So,
all right.
Okay. So, see you all. Muito obrigado.